edge of something truly life-changing. The air is thick with peace. The silence is filled with the whispers of angels descending from the heavens, and the gates of mercy are wide open. The last 5 nights of Ramadan are not just nights, they are opportunities, divine invitations from Allah Himself, calling you to step forward, to seek, to ask, to change your destiny. These are the moments when the past can be erased, when the heart can be healed, when the soul can rise to a level it has never reached before. But how many of us truly understand the weight of these nights? How many of us have been told the secrets hidden within them? For an entire month you have fasted, you have prayed, you have pushed yourself toward goodness. But the last 5 nights, this is where the journey reaches its most powerful stage. It is in these nights that Allah calls out, "Is there anyone seeking forgiveness so that I may forgive them?" It is in these nights that destinies are written, that angels descend in numbers beyond human comprehension, that the doors of the unseen world open wider than at any other time of the year. Yet most people don't realize just how close they are to receiving the kind of blessings that can transform their entire lives. The Prophet Muhammad didn't just worship in these nights. He elevated his devotion to a level beyond imagination. He spent them in deep prayer and long sujood, in whispered du'as that carried the weight of eternity. He woke his family, he urged his companions, he embraced the final moments of Ramadan with an urgency that should shake us to our core. Why? Because he knew that these nights held something beyond human comprehension, something so powerful that even one moment of sincere worship could outweigh a lifetime of neglect. These nights are not ordinary. They are the nights when the heavens open, when the records of your life are being written, when your name could be among those who are freed from the fire of Jahannam forever. They are nights of divine closeness. Nights when Allah is near, nights where your dua is not just heard but responded to in ways you cannot yet see. If you have ever felt lost, if you have ever felt distant from Allah, if you have ever wished for a second chance, these nights are for you. They are your chance to rewrite your story, to wipe away the burdens of your past, to step into a new beginning with a heart that is clean and a soul that is at peace. Do not let these nights slip away. Do not allow distractions to steal from you what could be the most important nights of your entire existence. The world will always be waiting for you, but these nights, they come only once a year, and for some, this may be the last chance they ever get. Allah has chosen you to witness these nights. He has given you the health, the time, the ability to worship Him in a way that can transform your life forever. The question is, will you answer the call? Will you step forward with sincerity, with desperation, with hope? Will you be among those who stand in prayer while the rest of the world sleeps, whose voices rise in dua while the angels descend, whose hearts are purified before the gates of Ramadan close once again? This is your moment. This is your chance. Do not waste it. The last 5 nights of Ramadan hold a significance that many people overlook. While much attention is given to the entire last 10 nights, these final 5 carry a depth of spiritual power that remains largely unexplored. Ramadan itself is a time of purification, mercy, and closeness to Allah. But as it nears its end, these last nights become even more intense in their blessings. It is in these nights that the soul reaches its peak in devotion, the heart is softened, and the connection with Allah deepens in ways that are often not realized. The final moments of Ramadan are not just about finishing strong, but about unlocking hidden doors of mercy that remain closed to those who neglect these sacred nights. These nights hold a power that goes beyond human understanding. Imagine standing under a sky filled with angels, witnessing the unseen forces of mercy descending upon the earth. Knowing that somewhere in these nights, Laylatul Qadr is hidden, waiting to bless the hearts of those who seek it. It is not just a time to pray, it is a time to transform. It is a time to plead with Allah, to ask for everything your heart desires, to cry out for forgiveness, and to let go of the burdens that have weighed you down. In these last nights, even a single sincere moment can change the course of your life. The mercy of Allah is pouring down, the doors of Jannah are wide open, and the chains of Shaitan have been broken. This is not the time to slow down. This is the time to push forward with every ounce of faith you have. The Prophet Muhammad intensified his worship in the last 10 nights, but particularly in these final nights. He did not sleep. He woke his family, he stood in long prayers, and he immersed himself in dua. If the most beloved to Allah increased his efforts in these nights, what does that mean for us? It means that these nights are not ordinary. They are filled with divine opportunities that many people miss. They are a chance to reach a level of faith that is not accessible at any other time of the year. Allah has placed these nights at the very end of Ramadan as a test. Who will persevere until the finish line? Who will push forward when others start to slow down? who will truly seek him with sincerity in the moments when it matters most. It is in these nights that destinies are written, that prayers are answered in ways beyond our understanding, that the weight of an entire lifetime of sins can be lifted in an instant. There are moments in these nights where a simple tear shed in humility, a single heartfelt dua, or one sincere act of worship can outweigh years of neglect. This is the reality of the last 5 nights of Ramadan. They hold secrets that many people do not realize. They hold a level of power that cannot be measured by human comprehension. Those who understand this will not let these nights pass by like any other. They will not allow distractions to steal what could be their greatest chance at forgiveness, at renewal, at salvation. The beauty of these nights is that they are for everyone. It does not matter where you are in your journey of faith. It does not matter how much you have struggled, how many mistakes you have made, or how distant you have felt from Allah. These nights are your chance to return, to be embraced by His mercy, to find a closeness to Him that will remain with you long after Ramadan has ended. Those who dedicate themselves in these final moments will walk away with more than they ever imagined. They will find peace, they will find purpose, and most importantly, they will find Allah waiting for them with open arms. The last 5 nights of Ramadan are not just the closing chapter of this blessed month. They are a divine invitation to seek ultimate forgiveness from Allah. Every night of Ramadan is filled with mercy, but these final nights carry an even greater opportunity to erase past sins and emerge spiritually renewed. Many people focus on Laylatul Qadr, but they often forget that each of these last nights holds immense potential. Allah in His infinite mercy does not limit His forgiveness to a single night. Rather, He extends it throughout these sacred moments, allowing His servants to repent, seek His pleasure, and change their destiny forever. This is why the Prophet Muhammad increased his devotion in these nights, seeking Allah's pardon with greater intensity and encouraging his followers to do the same. He knew that the doors of mercy were wide open, and that those who sincerely ask for forgiveness in these nights will not be turned away. It is in these nights that Allah calls out to His servants, asking, "Is there anyone seeking forgiveness so I may forgive them?" This divine call is not just for the pious, not just for those who have spent the entire month in worship, but for every single believer. It is for the one who has struggled, the one who feels distant, the one who has fallen but desires to rise again. It is for those who have made mistakes, who carry the weight of their sins, and who long for a fresh start. Allah's mercy is vast, beyond human comprehension, and in these nights that mercy is poured upon those who seek it with sincerity. There is no sin too great, no mistake too heavy, no past too dark that Allah cannot erase in an instant. The Prophet PBUH taught us the powerful dua to seek forgiveness in these nights. Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. O Allah, you are most forgiving and you love to forgive, so forgive me. This dua is not just words, it is a key that unlocks a door of mercy unlike any other. To ask Allah for forgiveness in these nights is to open yourself to His divine love, to His infinite kindness, to His willingness to wipe away everything that has burdened you. But the key is sincerity. When you ask for forgiveness, it should not be a mere formality. It should be a moment of deep reflection, of true regret, and of a firm commitment to change. The last 5 nights of Ramadan are not just about making dua. They are about transformation. They are about realizing that Allah's forgiveness is not only a gift, but a chance to start anew. If a person sincerely repents in these nights, if they turn to Allah with a heart full of remorse and hope, they can walk away from Ramadan with a clean slate, as if they had never sinned. What greater gift could there be? Imagine standing before Allah on the Day of Judgment, knowing that you took full advantage of these nights, knowing that you sought His forgiveness when it was most easily granted, knowing that you left Ramadan purified, renewed, and closer to Him than ever before. Yet so many people let these nights slip by. They become distracted, they assume they will have another chance. They underestimate the power of a single moment of sincere repentance. But the truth is, we are not promised another Ramadan. We do not know if we will live to see another chance for forgiveness. That is why these nights should not be taken lightly. They are an opportunity that may never come again. Those who truly value them will spend them in prayer, in dua, in seeking Allah's pardon with desperation and hope. They will weep before Him, knowing that every tear shed in repentance is a tear that washes away sins. They will beg for His mercy, knowing that His mercy is greater than their mistakes. They will make a sincere effort to change, knowing that Allah loves those who turn back to Him, no matter how far they have strayed. This is the power of the last 5 nights of Ramadan. They are nights of forgiveness, nights of redemption, nights that can change the course of a person's life forever. They are a reminder that no matter what has happened before, Allah's mercy is always near, waiting for those who seek it with sincerity. They are a chance to leave behind the burdens of the past and walk into the future with a heart that is clean, a soul that is purified, and a faith that is stronger than ever before. The last 5 nights of Ramadan hold a level of spiritual depth that many people do not fully understand yet. They were nights in which the Prophet Muhammad PBUH intensified his devotion like never before. These were not just nights of casual worship or routine prayers. They were nights in which the Prophet PBUH demonstrated a level of dedication and sincerity that should inspire every believer. He would stay awake the entire night in worship. He would wake his family so that they too could reap the rewards. And he would push himself to stand in long prayers, seeking the mercy of Allah with his heart fully immersed in devotion. His actions in these nights were not ordinary, and they reveal the hidden power that exists within them. These nights were different, and he knew that within them lay the keys to unimaginable blessings, forgiveness, and divine nearness. The Prophet had a deep awareness of what was unfolding in these nights. He understood that the decree of the entire year was being written, that the angels were descending in overwhelming numbers, that the mercy of Allah was reaching every corner of the earth. His worship in these nights was a reflection of his understanding of their magnitude. He did not allow himself to become distracted, nor did he take these nights lightly. He stood in prayer with humility, he recited the Quran with deep reflection, and he poured his heart out in dua, knowing that these were moments that could not be replaced. His example was not just for his own benefit, but for all of us. He showed us how to approach these nights, how to make the most of them, how to ensure that we do not leave Ramadan without having truly transformed our hearts. One of the most striking aspects of the Prophet's lit-chap worship in these nights was his insistence on waking his family. This was not just a personal journey for him, it was something he wanted for everyone he loved. He did not let his wife or children sleep while the gates of Jannah were open, while the angels were descending, while Allah's mercy was available in ways that it would not be at any other time of the year. This teaches us a powerful lesson. These nights are not just about individual worship. They are about bringing our families closer to Allah, about encouraging our loved ones to seek forgiveness, about making sure that those we care about do not miss out on these divine moments. The Prophet PBUH understood that this was an opportunity for salvation, for renewal, for complete forgiveness, and he wanted his family to be part of that blessing. The way the Prophet allowed the Prophet PBUH approach these nights was different from the rest of Ramadan. He tightened his belt, a phrase that scholars have interpreted to mean that he completely dedicated himself to worship, leaving behind worldly distractions. This shows us that the final stretch of Ramadan is not a time to relax. It is a time to push ourselves harder than ever before. It is a time to pray longer, to make deeper du'as, to read more Quran, to engage in more dhikr, to give more charity, and to do everything in our power to make the most of what remains. The Prophet PBUH did not slow down in these nights. He increased his effort, knowing that they held opportunities that could never be replaced. Another beautiful aspect of the Prophet's pause worship in these nights was his focus on dua. He spent long hours calling upon Allah, knowing that these were the most blessed moments to have prayers accepted. He sought forgiveness not because he had sins, but to set an example for us, to show us how to humble ourselves before Allah. His du'as were sincere, filled with love, hope, and urgency. He would ask Allah for protection from the hellfire, for mercy upon his ummah, for guidance for all things that mattered in both this life and the next. He understood that these nights were not just about seeking personal benefit, but about seeking the well-being of the entire ummah. The Prophet also taught us the importance of itikaf in these nights. He would seclude himself in the masjid, cutting off distractions and immersing himself entirely in worship. This was his way of showing us that sometimes we need to step away from the world to truly connect with Allah. In today's world where distractions are everywhere, the lesson of itikaf is more important than ever. Even if we cannot physically go into seclusion, we can still create moments where we disconnect from the noise of the world and dedicate ourselves to worship. We can turn off our phones, step away from social media, and focus solely on our relationship with Allah. The way the Prophet PBUH worshipped in these nights teaches us that they are unlike any other nights of the year. They are nights of mercy, of transformation, of closeness to Allah. If we truly follow his example, if we push ourselves as he did, if we approach these nights with the same level of sincerity and devotion, then we will walk away from Ramadan with more than we ever imagined. These nights have the power to change our lives, to rewrite our destinies, to bring us closer to Allah in ways that will remain with us forever. The last 5 nights of Ramadan are filled with hidden blessings, but one of the greatest gifts within these nights is Laylatul Qadr, the night of decree. While many people focus on the 27th night, the truth is that Laylatul Qadr could be in any of the last 10 nights, and the last 5 hold an even higher probability. It is a night unlike any other, a night that is greater than 1,000 months, a night in which the destiny of the coming year is written, and a night when the angels descend upon the earth in numbers beyond human comprehension. It is a night of peace, a night when the doors of the heavens are wide open and the mercy of Allah pours down upon those who seek it. It is a night that no believer should ever miss, yet so many people overlook the power hidden within these final nights of Ramadan. Laylatul Qadr is a night that can change your life forever. Imagine standing before Allah, making dua with sincerity, and in that moment your future is being written, your name is being placed among those who will be forgiven, your prayers are being accepted, and your destiny is being shaped in ways you cannot see. Allah has decreed that this night carries the weight of more than 83 years of worship, meaning that a single act of ibadah on this night is multiplied beyond human understanding. A sincere prayer, a heartfelt dua, a tear shed in repentance. All of it carries a reward that cannot be measured. This is why the Prophet Muhammad told us to seek this night with urgency, to not let it pass by without begging for Allah's mercy, and to make the powerful dua, Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibul afwa fa'fuani. O Allah, you are most forgiving and you love to forgive, so forgive me. But the reality is that many people approach the last nights of Ramadan with exhaustion. They begin to slow down, thinking they have done enough. They pray on the 27th night, assuming that Laylatul Qadr has passed, and they neglect the remaining nights. This is one of the greatest mistakes a believer can make. The Prophet Aqdahi never singled out one night. He encouraged his followers to seek Laylatul Qadr in all the last 10 nights, and even more so in the final 5. Why? Because Allah in His wisdom has hidden this night so that only those who truly strive for it will attain its blessings. It is a test of sincerity, a test of perseverance, a test of who will continue to seek Allah until the very end of Ramadan. The signs of Laylatul Qadr are subtle. It is a night of tranquility where the atmosphere feels different, where the soul feels at peace, and where the heart is drawn toward worship in a way that is beyond normal. The Prophet PBUH described it as a night where the air is calm, where the moon appears soft and radiant, where the night feels neither too hot nor too cold. But the greatest sign of all is the effect it has on the believer's heart. Those who spend these nights in worship will feel something indescribable, a connection with Allah that is deep, pure, and transformative. If a person truly understands the value of Laylatul Qadr, they will not sleep through these final nights. They will not allow distractions to steal their chance at earning rewards that surpass an entire lifetime. They will push themselves beyond their limits. They will make dua with a heart full of hope. They will stand in prayer longer than ever before, and they will seek forgiveness with desperation and sincerity, because they know that these are not ordinary nights. These are nights in which the gates of Jannah are open, the sins of an entire lifetime can be erased, and the angels record the names of those who will be granted Allah's mercy. The beautiful thing about Laylatul Qadr is that it is not reserved for the scholars, the righteous, or those who have spent their lives in worship. It is for anyone who seeks it with sincerity. It is for the one who has made mistakes but wants to change, for the one who feels distant from Allah but wants to return, for the one who has been struggling but refuses to give up. It is a night of hope, a night where no matter what has happened in the past, Allah's mercy is greater and He is ready to forgive. This is why the last 5 nights of Ramadan are so important, because Laylatul Qadr could be among them, and those who seek it with sincerity will walk away with more than they ever imagined. They will find peace, they will find renewal, and they will find Allah's mercy surrounding them in ways they never expected. These nights are a gift, a hidden treasure, a chance to rewrite one's destiny. Those who truly understand this will not let them pass by without making the most of every moment in worship, in dua, in seeking the pleasure of Allah, knowing that one night can change everything for eternity. The last 5 nights of Ramadan hold an opportunity that most people fail to recognize, the chance to completely erase a lifetime of sins and start anew. While throughout the year believers engage in worship and seek forgiveness, these nights hold a weight unlike any other. These are the nights when Allah's mercy is at its peak, when He is calling upon His servants, offering them complete redemption. It is a divine invitation, a call to turn back, a moment when the past can be rewritten and a soul can be purified in a way that nothing else can accomplish. These nights are not just about prayer and fasting, they are about transformation. They are about returning to Allah with sincerity, shedding the burdens of past mistakes, and walking away with a heart that is cleansed and a soul that is renewed. The Prophet Muhammad emphasized that Ramadan is a time when Allah forgives His servants in multitudes, but the final nights are the climax. These are the nights when Allah descends to the lowest heaven and asks, "Who is seeking forgiveness that I may forgive them? Who is calling upon me so that I may answer them?" This divine call is made every night, but in these final nights it carries an urgency like no other. It is as if the gates of Jannah are wide open, waiting for those who will step forward and seek Allah's mercy. It does not matter how many sins a person has committed, how distant they feel from Allah, or how lost they think they are. These nights are proof that Allah's mercy is greater than any mistake, that His forgiveness is limitless, and that no soul is beyond redemption. But seeking forgiveness is not just about saying astaghfirullah repeatedly. It is about truly feeling regret for the mistakes of the past, about humbling oneself before Allah, about making sincere promises to change. It is about recognizing one's shortcomings and begging Allah to erase them. The Prophet, Islamic pearl, taught us that there are people who will leave Ramadan completely forgiven, and others who will waste the opportunity, remaining in their sins despite the endless mercy that was available to them. The difference between the two is not in how much they have sinned, but in how sincerely they seek forgiveness. Those who cry out to Allah in these nights, those who feel the weight of their mistakes and beg for His mercy, will walk away from Ramadan with a heart that is pure and a soul that is free. One of the most powerful du'as that the Prophet Ali taught for these nights is Allahumma inaka afu'un tubibu afwafafani. O Allah, you are most forgiving and you love to forgive, so forgive me. This dua is short, yet it carries the key to complete purification. It reminds us that Allah does not just forgive, He loves to forgive. It is part of His nature to wipe away sins, to give His servants another chance, to welcome them back no matter how far they have strayed. This is why the believers must never hesitate to seek His mercy, never doubt His willingness to forgive, never allow Shaitan to convince them that they are beyond hope. But seeking forgiveness in these nights is not just about words, it is about action. It is about using these nights to prove to Allah that one is truly sincere. It is about increasing in worship, standing in prayer with humility, making heartfelt du'as, reciting the Quran with reflection, giving charity with a pure intention, and distancing oneself from sinful habits. It is about demonstrating to Allah that one is ready for change, ready for a new beginning, ready to leave Ramadan as a different person. The Prophet PBUH showed us that in these nights, effort matters. He did not sleep. He pushed himself harder than ever before. He understood that this was the moment of ultimate forgiveness, and he did not want to miss a single second of it. This is the mindset that every believer should have. These nights are not just another part of Ramadan. They are the key to everything. They are the nights that can determine the future, the nights that can elevate a person in the sight of Allah, the nights that can erase an entire lifetime of sins in an instant. Imagine standing on the Day of Judgment with a clean record, with nothing to weigh a person down, with all sins wiped away as if they never existed. That is what these nights offer. That is what is at stake, and that is why those who understand their value will not waste them. These final nights of Ramadan are the ultimate test of sincerity. They separate those who are truly seeking Allah's mercy from those who are only engaged in routine worship. They are a chance to leave behind the weight of past mistakes, to secure a future that is bright with Allah's blessings, and to step into the rest of one's life with a heart that is light, pure, and free. Those who grasp this opportunity will find themselves forever changed, forever closer to Allah, and forever blessed with His divine mercy. The last 5 nights of Ramadan are not just about prayer and forgiveness. They are about building an unbreakable connection with Allah. For many, Ramadan comes and goes, leaving behind moments of spirituality that fade as soon as the month ends. But the final nights hold a special secret. They have the power to change the way a believer connects with Allah forever. These nights are a time when the heart is at its softest, when the soul is most in tune with the divine, and when Allah's presence feels closer than ever before. It is in these nights that a person can strengthen their faith in a way that will carry them throughout the rest of their life. The Prophet Muhammad was the ultimate example of how to build a deep and lasting connection with Allah. In the last 10 nights, he would isolate himself from the distractions of the world, dedicating himself entirely to worship. He did not let anything interfere with his relationship with his Creator. He would lengthen his prayers, increase his supplications, and push himself beyond his limits. He knew that these nights were a gift, a rare chance to experience a closeness to Allah that could not be found at any other time of the year. He understood that if a person wants to truly connect with Allah, they must give their full effort, their full sincerity, and their full heart. But how does one build this unbreakable connection? It starts with recognizing that Allah is always near. Too often people feel distant from Him, as if they are lost in the world, unable to find their way back. But Allah never leaves His servants. He says in the Quran, "And when my servant asks you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the supplication of the supplicant when he calls upon me." Surah Al-Baqarah 2:18-6. These final nights of Ramadan are proof of that nearness. They are a reminder that no matter what has happened in the past, no matter how far someone feels they have strayed, Allah is always there, waiting for His servants to turn back to Him. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen this connection is through dua. Dua is not just about asking for things. It is about building a conversation with Allah. It is about pouring out one's heart, expressing fears, hopes, and dreams, and trusting that Allah is listening. In these nights, dua becomes even more powerful because the doors of the heavens are open and every sincere call is answered. This is why the Prophet encouraged believers to make dua without limits, to ask for everything, big or small, worldly or spiritual, because Allah's generosity knows no bounds. The person who spends these nights in dua is not just seeking blessings, they are strengthening their relationship with the one who gives those blessings. Another key way to deepen this connection is through the Quran. The final nights of Ramadan are closely linked to the Quran because this is the month in which it was revealed. The Quran is not just a book. It is the direct words of Allah, a message sent to guide, heal, and transform the heart. When a believer recites the Quran in these nights, they are engaging in a conversation with Allah, listening to His guidance, and allowing His words to shape their soul. This is why those who want to build a lasting connection with Allah should not only recite the Quran, but reflect on its meanings, absorb its wisdom, and implement its teachings in their daily lives. The last 5 nights are also an opportunity to strengthen this bond through sincerity in worship. Many people pray, fast, and give charity out of habit, but true connection comes when these acts are done with deep love and devotion. It is not just about standing in prayer. It is about feeling every word, every prostration, every moment of connection with Allah. It is about making worship a source of peace and comfort rather than a duty. When a person truly loves Allah, they do not see worship as a burden. They see it as an honor. They seek prayer because it soothes their soul. They make dhikr because it fills their heart with light. And they engage in acts of charity because they feel the joy of giving for the sake of Allah. Finally, the last 5 nights are a time to make a commitment, a promise to carry this connection beyond Ramadan. Too often, people feel deeply connected to Allah in these nights, but then lose that feeling once Eid arrives. The goal of these nights is not just to worship intensely and then return to old habits. It is to build a lifelong relationship with Allah. It is about making worship a permanent part of life, about ensuring that the love and sincerity developed in these nights do not fade away. The person who succeeds in doing this does not just experience spirituality in Ramadan, they live it every day. These final nights of Ramadan are not just about the present, they are about the future. They are a time to establish a connection with Allah that is unshakable, to build a faith that remains strong no matter what challenges arise.